it up somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, whenever you hear that theme song, it signals the moment when I should be saying greetings to the entire world and to welcome you to another edition of Straight Talk, which comes to you from the federation of two beautiful islands and one lovely paradise right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So let me say good night to St. Kitts and good night to Nevis. And I must also say good night to the entire Caribbean region. And like I said earlier, good night to the world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we reach and touch you in the Kittitian division and Caribbean diaspora all around the globe. Some of you I know are in Africa. There are some of you in Asia. And there are some of you in Europe. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. And I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning. And I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And I must thank all those who continue to share the link. When you do, we get first-timers. So I must say greetings to my first-timers, wherever you are in the globe. And welcome to your first edition of Straight Talk. And I trust and hope it would not be your last edition. And I must encourage you to let me know if you enjoy the program. If you enjoy this program, go tell it to the world. If you don't, try to find me and tell it to me. But just to let you know that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underline free expression of all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express yourselves freely. And on this program, we try to raise the level of consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse. We try to raise the level of openness by alerting people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with the opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I always pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. Here on Straight Talk, absolutely nothing is watered down to make it more interesting, neither by omission nor by exaggeration. Excuse me, because Straight Talk is not about making things sensational or creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we lead on the facts, as it is my duty to present what I always call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance, transparency, integrity, wherever we are in St. Kitts and Nevis, or wherever we are in the globe. Because we are joined together with people across our federation, and we are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. So my Straight Talk family, yes, some of us will agree with the positions of truth that we advance on Straight Talk, and some will disagree. And that's fine, because we are a different people and we promote diversity. But please, let us be clear that we advance the positions of truth, as I said, and even if we disagree, do not sadden me and becoming disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight as always. Let us, of course, agree. Nonetheless, and in thanking God for helping us to understand how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. So let's therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome again, my people. And thanks for those who, as I mentioned earlier, share the link as you bring first-timers. Please continue to do so. I must remind you, and in particular the first-timers, that Straight Talk is a public service. It is a participative program, I should say. And by that I mean, yes, it's a public service program too, but that I mean we include your calls, we include your emails, and if you're so minded, calling, the numbers are on your screens. 2 numbers, a local and an overseas number. I know there are some who like what I call the cloak of anonymity. You don't like to be heard. You don't want to be accused of anything, so you hide behind your keyboards. And that's fine. Just respect yourselves. And the access to that cloak of anonymity is my email address and the email platform. And the address is Straight Talk Patches, that's one word, at gmail.com. I've got a complaint that we don't hear Alexa live all the time, and I do apologize for that. But once you have that Alexa app as well, just say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. There's some of you who have made donations. We thank you. Big, big thank you. And I must reassure you that no matter the donation, no matter the size of your contribution, please don't stop, because it helps us to continue this very important public service. And others who may wish to donate can simply scan the code on your screen to access the payment form. So thank you again for your support and for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And I must hail and welcome my junior brigade. See, a special welcome to my junior brigade. Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shema, Kevin, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, Neymar, and Soraya. Neymar is my grandson. And a special lady in St. Louis, she must be healed as well. And how is the Queen in Texas? We normally have our observations in review. During this time, we highlight the issues, we do some reflection, we ask a few questions. Sometimes I'm given homework, and I try to get the information that you ask for, and I try to my best. And after our observations review, we will begin our normal thesis. We normally have a thesis, and for tonight, I've titled my thesis, St. Kitts and Nevis Trapped. SKN trapped between a rock and a hard place. So don't change your platform to spread the word that Straight Talk is live on social media, YouTube, Facebook, and Alexa. I will, as a matter of public service as well, just inform you of this textbook covering service. As you see on your monitor there, that's the textbook covering service that's available, and you can see the contact and the price listing. That's the Jeffers textbook covering service. The numbers are there, and the contact email is also there, so you can clear, cover, label, name, school, grade, pick up and drop off in the Basti area is $5, and the price listing is also there. And we bring you that information as well, as I said, as a public service. My first observation, though, I am duty bound to mention the lack of an urgency for public consultation as it relates to government projects. that are being implemented in St. Kitts and Nevis, and more in particular, St. Kitts. You can think of the Basti High School, the desalination plant, the RLB International Airport expansion. And I would hasten to add that it is troubling, because in this 21st century, an age defined by democratic values, transparency, and technological access, one truth remains self-evident, is that a government that does not consult with its people is not a good government. I repeat that. A government that does not consult with its people is not a good government. We cannot and must not accept a return to the days when decisions were handed down from lofty offices without the voices of the communities, the voices of the people being heard. Yet today, we find ourselves confronting that troubling reality. And what message does it send when a school is built without engaging the parents, the teachers, and the students it is meant to serve? And I'm talking about the Basti High School, to be specific. What trust can we have in a desalination project that begins without environmental impact reports being shared with the community, without water experts and local residents in the room having a discussion? TMUMC did that with the Basti High School, public consultation, and those who are right now in office attended the consultations and got all the questions answered. The kind of governance, or this kind of governance we are seeing now, I must add, is not progress. It is regression. It is the betrayal of the very democratic mandate upon which our elected representatives were chosen. And let us be clear, public consultation is not the ticking of a box or a box to tick. It is a foundational pillar of responsible governance. It is how governments earn legitimacy, not by mere act of winning votes, but by continuing to listen and serve beyond election day. And those elected representatives who fail to uphold this duty, who allow or even enable projects to proceed without transparency, without local involvement, without respect for the people they serve, there must be consequences. We can propose many things. Public censure. Because in bypassing public consultation, those who are found to be complicit, they should not get the support of the constituency again, ever. Their decision-making record must be made publicly available for scrutiny. And if you look at those in office today, their record is terrible. We must perhaps advocate for a recall mechanism. We need to introduce a recall mechanism, thereby allowing constituency to remove officials who repeatedly ignore public voices. And that's what's happening with this government. Everything is a secret. Already passed all sorts of legislation, freedom of information, all sorts. But they are so cagey. Propose independent oversight committees in constituencies affected by such unilateral decisions. independent citizen-led committees should be established to monitor future projects and advise on implementation. And this must not be about politics. Must be about principle, about honoring the promise of representation, about restoring trust in the system, about remembering that government is not a machine. Government is a contract between people and those they entrust with power. So in the 21st century, governance without consultation is not only outdated, it is unacceptable. Let us demand better, my people. Let us expect more. And let us hold those responsible accountable, not out of vengeance, but out of our unwavering commitment to a democracy that listens, includes, and serves all. And that is my observation for tonight, my Street Dog family. And I want us to really take it seriously. Do not accept the lack of consultation that comes from the July Labor administration. We must not accept it any longer. My thesis for tonight, as I mentioned earlier, is SKN trapped between a rock and hard place. Look at what the Prime Minister and the Attorney General have done to our beloved country, is what someone close to the Jew Labor administration said to me a few days ago. Patches, he continued, today we face a challenge that strikes at the core of our sovereignty. It strikes at the core of our reputation and economic future, the economic future of St. Kitts and Nevis. He then cited the recent reports based on a purportedly leaked United States Department cable suggesting that 36 countries, including St. Kitts and Nevis, and 3 other OECS nations, operating citizenship by investment or CBI programs, have been identified as countries of concern and possibly facing visa or travel restrictions to the United States. Philip Peale of St. Lucia, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, said St. Lucia received no official communication. He said this.
Like most of you, read the article in the press of St. Lucia being on a blacklist. I want to inform you that we have had no official notification from the US on any such matter. But we'll continue to work with our contacts and our embassies in Washington, in New York, and the Ministry of External Affairs will continue to explore avenues with the embassy in Barbados to ascertain whether there is any truth in the matter. We will remain engaged. The US have been our friends. We continue to maintain a very high level of diplomatic engagement. We continue to work with the US. So we are monitoring the situation, and the public of St. Lucia will be involved. We will always speak the truth and tell them the exact nature of the story, if there is any truth in it.
My Straight Talk family, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, so to speak, follow suit, to use a colloquial term, and issued a similar release, not an audio, but through the SKNIS, which said, as you can see from your monitors, under the caption Government of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, in response to circulating reports of alleged U.S. travel ban. And it says the government has taken note of reports now circulating on various platforms suggesting that the United States of America has imposed or is preparing to impose a travel ban that includes the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and which may affect the ability of our citizens to enter the United States. While we understand the concerns that such reports may naturally generate, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis wishes to make it absolutely clear that no official correspondence or communication has been received from the United States government, whether through our embassy, consular representatives, or any other channel, indicating the existence or impending issuance of any such travel ban or restriction that targets St. Kitts and Nevis or the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. But my Straight Talk family, the United States Department, or State Department that should be, confirmed the leaked document and that all countries were informed. All countries were informed according to this spokesperson for the U.S. State Department.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, it's been reported over the weekend that the Secretary of the State Secretary, actually the President,
Yes.
Would expand the travel ban to 36 other countries. A lot of them, from what I understand, are in Africa. There's already 19 countries that are affected by the travel ban to a different extent. Can you share any details, elements you have on this plan?
As laid out in President Trump's Executive Order 14161, protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats, the visa adjudication process has got to ensure that U.S.-bound foreign travelers do not pose a threat to the national security and public safety of the United States. That is, I think, a very low bar and is a bar that every nation should be able to adopt. In this particular instance, I think that it's clear as we're looking at providing a period of time, countries being told if they don't get to that point where we can trust them, then they've got to change the system, update it, do whatever they need to do to convince us that we can trust the process and the information they have. So that is the goal of this. The Secretary will have the discretion to determine whether or not someone is on that list, as we then also continuously vet the nature of what's happening within these conversations.
So my Straight Talk family, we asked the question, why would the State Department confirm the leak and confirm the list and not inform countries? And according to that spokesperson, the countries all were informed by this cable. The State Department also confirmed that countries were given time to comply. So how could they not know, my Straight Talk family? The State Department also said this.
Just following up on that, there was a deadline given for these 36 countries tomorrow to come up with their action plan. I wonder if you've heard back.
No, that's incorrect. I can just tell you that that's not correct. The fact is that they will have a considerable amount of time to rectify whatever the situation is that the State Department has determined is affecting the nature of our trust in how we issue a visa.
So my Straight Talk family, why would our leader fabricate a story not told? being aside, however, what is profoundly troubling is our grouping alongside nations known for terrorism and instability, such as Afghanistan, Yemen, Syria, and others. And let me be crystal clear, my people. St. Kitts and Nevis is not Afghanistan. We are a peaceful democracy with one of the world's smallest populations, approximately 53,000 people. Our CBI program is a legitimate sovereign tool designed to boost our development. It has added a significant share to our GDP and revenues, helping to build schools and much needed infrastructure. It was in particular gained notoriety, if I can use that term, when in 2006 our then Prime Minister introduced the SIDF, my straight dog family.
I remember well what it was like when as Prime Minister I recognized that we would have to chart a stable and sustainable path forward once it became clear that the sugar agricultural economy and country could no longer be the mainstay of St. Kitts and Nevis. Those were quite tumultuous times globally. But I was determined to put in place the policies and the guardrails to ensure that, firstly, we established new avenues of economic activity and growth, whilst ensuring, secondly, that there was zero social upheaval, zero political instability, and zero domestic tumult. In fact, it is because of those concerns that we created what has now become famous as the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation, the SIDF.
And that has a colorful history, the SIDF. However, my straight dog family, the mere suggestion that we are on a yellow list, facing a 60-day window to fix unspecified issues or risk escalating restrictions, demands urgent attention. While our government was quick to advise that no formal communication has been received from Washington, which is false, the reputational damage from these reports and the fear felt by our citizens and the diaspora is real and immediate. Imagine St. Kitts and Nevis, a proud, peaceful and small island nation, has been grouped alongside known terrorist countries. This development has understandably sparked anxiety, not just among our citizens at home and in the diaspora, but it has also sparked much anxiety within our vital tourism and investment sectors. The question on everyone's mind, how did we get here? So tonight, we will aim to begin unpacking that question. And while much remains under investigation and subject to ongoing diplomacy, several core issues are already in focus. First, attention has turned sharply to our CBI program, an initiative that for decades has helped to sustain our economy. But questions have now arisen about whether our due diligence processes were compromised, or whether individuals of questionable background were granted citizenship without sufficient scrutiny. Secondly, troubling reports have emerged regarding a whistleblower complaint filed in the United States by Philippe Martinez, a complaint that we are told includes serious allegations about the internal handling of the CBI program. These significant allegations were reportedly passed to the Attorney General, Garth Lucifer Wilkin, who went into the cover-up mode to protect his colleagues. Prime Minister Gonzalez of St. Vincent and the Grenadines warned his OECS colleagues back in April of this year to clean up the program, we remember.
You see the Americans under President Trump saying that has to come to an end. Yeah, Canada is the same thing. Britain, they start to say they're taking away, you have to apply for visa now from certain of those countries. And the Europeans now have put it inside of their parliament. Parliamentary committee in the European Union, Parliament has already addressed that question. It's going through the parliamentary process. It's just a matter of time. I saw it coming. It took a little longer because they give them some time to clean up. But I know that the money is so sweet for everybody. They weren't going to do any cleanup. Because if you really, really clean up, there's not a lot of money.
And my Dog family, to Terence Michael July, as Comrade Ralph said, the money was so sweet. Plus, he found a new friend in Gurdip Devbat. Remember, my Stray Dog family, that Bat was a guest of Prime Minister Drew at the high-level meeting of the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, in September 2022. We need to remind you as often as possible about this, my Stray Dog family. While many focus on the lady, that gentleman in the left-hand corner there, Gurdip Devbat, was a guest. See him there with that red circle over his head. Was a guest of Prime Minister Drew at the United Nations General Assembly in September 2020. And Gurdip Devbat is associated with CS Global, which was first contracted by Denzel Douglas Labour Party as an advisor and promoter of the Citizenship by Investment program, and was paid a flat US $20,000 or more on each application approved under the SIDF option. Yes, US $20,000 on each approved application. My Stray Dog family. The 2013 agreement was amended to US $10,900. Hear me. The 2013 agreement was amended to $10,900 per approved application in 2018 for the Hurricane Relief Fund and the Sustainable Growth Fund. If you read that document on your monitors as well, you would recognize that there was also a $5,000 fee, US dollars, 5,000, my Stray Dog family, as another amendment. Look at clause 6.1. That's $10,000.
Like most of you read
And look at the adding clause.
the article on in the
1A
press of St. Lucia
says the
being
government
on a blacklist.
family
I want to inform you
speaks to the government
that we have had no official notification from the US on any such
and
matter.
a fee being
But
paid
we'll continue to
of
work
some US
with our contacts
$5,000.
and our embassies in Washington, in
$5,000
New York,
per
and the Ministry of External Affairs will continue to explore
application
avenues
approved.
with the embassy in
$5,000
Barbados
paid
to ascertain whether there is any
approved
truth in the
application
matter.
under the
We
alternative
will remain
investment
engaged.
option.
The US
By Sweet
have
Dog
been
Family.
our friends. We continue to maintain a very
$5,000
high level of diplomatic
Under
engagement.
the
We continue to work with
approved
the
option.
US. So we are in a very
$5,000 my Sweet Dog family. I do apologize for that mix-up there. But here's the amended agreement, again, my Sweet Dog family, on your monitors. But $5,000, a $5,000 fee, my Sweet Dog family, paid for every approved, my Sweet Dog family, every approved application under the alternative investment option, now called the public benefit option. So accordingly, or according to Terence Michael Drew, 22,000 applications were approved under the alternative investment option, which means that DevBat got a windfall of US $110 million, my Sweet Dog family. $110 million US, I may add. And my mathematics, as I always say to you, I always confess that mathematics is my strongest weak point. So help me to calculate that and put it into some sense we could understand. This windfall of EC $298 million, my Sweet Dog family. 110 US dollars, the equivalent of $298 million, or round it off, 299 million EC dollars. Would that be a reasonable explanation, my Sweet Dog family, for why Terence Michael Drew and DevBat shook hands and became brothers? DevBat refers to Terence Drew as his little brother, my Sweet Dog family. And just a few days ago, Freedom FM 106.9 or 106.95, I think that's the correct dial, broke the news about DevBat in some kidnapping allegations. Freedom FM brought this news to the country, my Sweet Dog family. Straight from the media. You can read it for yourselves. Again, my Sweet Dog family. I'm giving you time to absorb it. I'm giving you time to absorb this, my Sweet Dog family, because they are serious allegations. Man listed as diplomatic representative for St. Kitts and Nevis in India, implicated in high-profile kidnapping allegations in the London court. And we give kudos to Freedom FM for breaking that story. The case now making international headlines, my Straight Talk family. That case is making international headlines, as I said. And we ask ourselves, why has Terence Michael July not make any mention about his big brother? But Terence Michael July will never comment on this issue. I can bet my bottom dollar you will never comment on this issue, especially since he told us that elections are easily bought. My Straight Talk family.
The election in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether you believe it or not, can be bought. It is not too expensive for a rich person to buy an election in St. Kitts and Nevis. This election has proven that.
And my Straight Talk family, he needs friends like Buddy Darby and a bigger brother like Dev Bart if he is going to buy elections, don't you think? Dev Bart is listed and issues these cards, which ought to be updated as a representative of St. Kitts and Nevis. And my Straight Talk family, I submit that St. Kitts and Nevis is trapped between a rock and a hard place. And special representative for entrepreneurship and development, my Straight Talk family, that's our representative. But we are trapped between a rock and a hard place because in parallel, questions have been raised about our Prime Minister's recent visit to Cuba. My Straight Talk family, questions have also been raised about whether historical ties stemming from his time studying in Cuba may have contributed to heightened mistrust or misinterpretation by foreign powers, especially given the current geopolitical climate. Imagine, my Straight Talk family, Terence Michael Drew went to meet the U.S. Secretary Marco Rubio in Washington. And he left Washington and went to Cuba. And this is just an observation, my Straight Talk family. He left Washington and went to Cuba. While in Cuba, Terence Michael Drew apparently signed a health cooperation agreement. And we know, my Straight Talk family, we know that this was an issue, the issue of the Cuban Medical Brigade is referred to. It was an issue raised by the U.S. Secretary of State some months ago. So Straight Talk can only speculate the reasons why the government of the Bahamas is moving to cancel medical contracts with the Cuban government and instead, unlike St. Kitts and Nevis, introduce direct contracts with the workers. And this was released in relation to the Bahamas, my Straight Talk family. The Bahamas are now moving away from the Cuban government contracts to direct contracts with the workers, whether the medical doctors, the engineers, or whomsoever they recruit. Now, my straight talk family, we ask the question then. Has the visit to Cuba by Terence Michael Drew created additional friction with key international partners? Has he signed this agreement right after seeing Marco Rubio? But in the Bahamas, the Minister of Health explained that his ministry will instead establish direct employment contracts with the Cuban healthcare workers currently in the country instead of via the Cuban government. And he says, and I quote, "Those who are not interested in this new arrangement will have time to organize their affairs and return to Cuba," the minister stated. He also said that all arrangements to hire Cuban teachers and medical personnel have been suspended pending the outcome of negotiations. So the Bahamas have taken a different route, so to speak, and they are dealing directly with the workers and not the government. So Marco Rubio will have no problem with that, no doubt. But we ask the question, has the visit to Cuba by Terence Michael July created additional friction with key international partners like the United States of America? And while we cannot control how others interpret our diplomatic moves, we must be sensitive, to how historical and ideological associations are perceived in today's geopolitical climate. And none of these developments exists in isolation. Together, they raise complex issues involving governance, transparency, foreign relations, and national security. And straight talk is not about assigning blame. It is about opening the door to clarity, opening the door to accountability and dialogue, my straight talk family. The July Labour government must understand that our credibility and reputation are on the line. And so tonight, we must begin a process to inform the public, to correct misinformation, and to work urgently to restore the confidence of our international partners while preserving the dignity of our nation, my straight talk family. We have to preserve the dignity of our nation. And this is not a small matter. This is not just a diplomatic hiccup. This is a reputational crisis, and its consequences, if not addressed with urgency, transparency, and seriousness, could be devastating. We must be honest about what is at stake. If this travel ban becomes a reality, the impact on ordinary citizens and individuals will be profound, will be catastrophic. Our citizens, students, business owners, health patients, families would face increased visa denials, lengthy background checks, and the possibility of being cut off from opportunities in the United States, our largest and most important partner. We risk losing access to critical trade, education, and healthcare resources. Even our tourism industry, which depends heavily on U.S. travelers, would suffer from negative perceptions and diminished trust. We are already hearing from citizens abroad who are experiencing increased scrutiny at borders. This is just the beginning of what could become a more entrenched and damaging situation. And at the center of the controversy is our CBI program, an initiative that was born more than 40 years ago as a bold innovation to support our development without dependency. It has delivered undeniable benefits. It helped build infrastructure and stabilize our economy during tough times. Think about the COVID. But today, we must confront a painful question. After 4 decades of operating the world's longest standing CBI program, why are we still grappling with questions of integrity and due diligence? Why are we not a model for the world, but instead under scrutiny and possible sanction? The truth is, while the program has evolved over time, it has not kept pace with the expectations of a rapidly changing global security and financial environment. Reforms have been reactive, not strategic. Oversight has sometimes been influenced by political or financial pressures rather than guided by best practices. And now, with the reports of a whistleblower complaint filed in the United States, alleging serious flaws in how the CBI program, in our case, has been managed, we must admit that this is not just a public relations problem, it is a governance issue, my straight talk family. The Attorney General declined a meeting with U.S. officials as he wanted to cover up money laundering allegations levied at his colleagues in cabinet. Trust, once broken at that level, will be difficult, my straight talk family, to rebuild. The Attorney General heard this. He turned a blind eye, my straight talk family, to this.
Early in January, a miracle happened, and my American lawyer, pursuant to the court order that we won in Florida, received all the bank transaction of all these people from Bank of America. I repeat, MSR Media is now in possession of all bank transactions for Caribbean Galaxy, Ying Jing, Denzel Douglas, Timothy Harris, CS Global Partner, Farron Lawrence and his company, Sylvester Anthony.
Ask yourselves the question, my people. How is it possible, again, under the Prime Minister Drew, that such a small country like St. Kitts Nevis, a touristic country, how can we end up on the list of U.S. travel ban or a U.S. travel ban of the U.S. government? How could it put St. Kitts Nevis on the same list with Yemen, with Afghanistan, Somalia, Nigeria? What Prime Minister Drew and the Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin did with the CBI program? What did Philippe Martinez give to the U.S. government that made Garth Lucifer Wilkin refuse to go to Washington to meet with the Department of Justice and State Department officials? What or who was Garth Lucifer Wilkin hiding? The due diligence that was compromised and the fact that our passport was sold to bad people. Was that what he was hiding? The U.S. sent a diplomatic cable to all countries, yet it is being denied. They sold more passports than the local population. Due diligence was compromised, so passports are in the possession of people with links to suspected terrorism. It is we, the people, who will pay the price. What is the true story, Prime Minister Drew, about offshore accounts that we are hearing of and offshore companies? It is said that Skipper and the National Bank will have a hot summer. I'm afraid. What are our deficiencies cited in our CBI, and can they be rectified in 60 days? We need to know, Terence Drew. What is amazing as well is the silence, the deafening silence of Mark Brantley. He's been neutralized by the communists. Why is the DPP so silent? Terence, Michael, Drew, and Garth Lucifer Wilkin need to cut off the bad apples. What do you believe the American government thinks when they see the million-dollar bank accounts of colleague ministers? Stop protecting them, Terence Drew and Garth Lucifer Wilkin, and jeopardizing our ability to travel to and from the USA, jeopardizing our tourism industry, our stayover visitors and cruise ship arrivals, jeopardizing our hotel and restaurant industry. Your willful blindness will hurt all of us. You must know that President Trump is serious. So tonight, my Straight Talk family, I implore all of us to begin a frank and a necessary process, one that seeks not to cast blame, but to reclaim control of our national narrative. We owe it to our people to get this right, not only to restore trust abroad, but to ensure that every Kittian and Nevisian, whether at home or overseas, can walk with pride and confidence in the strength and integrity of our country. Terence, Michael, Drew must inform the Federation about the steps being taken to overhaul the CBI program. You said it was criminal while in opposition, but you came in and perpetuated the criminality. What steps are you taking to enhance due diligence and open lines of communication with our international partners? Let this moment, Terence, Michael, Drew, not be one of despair. The list was circulated in many a media. So let it not be a moment of despair, but let it be a turning point where we finally align our ambitions with our accountability. Tonight, I'm speaking to you with honesty as per usual and a heavy sense of responsibility. St. Kitts and Nevis, our beloved nation, is facing a serious challenge that threatens our international standing and freedom of movement we have long enjoyed. Our Citizenship by Investment program, once hailed as a bold economic innovation, is now under more intense international scrutiny. Specifically, the U.S. has raised deep concern about the program's integrity, questioning whether it has become a gateway for individuals who pose threats to the U.S. national security and public safety. As a result, we currently find ourselves trapped between a rock and a hard place. On one side, the economic benefits we have long relied on from this program are threatened. On the other side is the growing pressure from our most powerful ally, whose cooperation we depend on for trade, for travel, and for security. The potential consequences are serious. We risk losing visa privileges. We risk seeing our citizens subjected to suspicion and delay. And we risk long-term damage to our country's reputation, damage that will not be easy to undo. We must act. And we must act now to remove St. Kitts and Nevis from this list, my Straight Dog family. Rebuilding trust means accepting where we have gone wrong and showing the world that we are ready to set things right. If we don't, St. Kitts Nevis will remain trapped between a rock and a hard place. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to move it. I'm not going to change it. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do, which is momentarily, I anticipate that you will respect others. And to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned, and in the process of saying and doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. At 9 o'clock hour, we go to the lines and take this our first call. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my dear.
The quotation. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Begins with a single step.
I repeat, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Have a great evening.
Well, thank you very much. Very short and thought-provocative quotation. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And yes, my Straight Dog family, the lines are open. I'll entertain your calls. I will also entertain your emails. You so mindly call in if you're a first timer. The numbers are on your screens, on your monitors. There's a local number, 663, beg your pardon, 6672. Our overseas number, 646-829-6672 as well. And as I said, our thesis for tonight, as I mentioned, St. Kitts and Nevis, SKN, trapped between a rock and a hard place. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liburd. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
This is California Aunt. I'm not calling my name, but you don't know me now. And I say California Aunt.
Yes.
Okay. I was listening on the news yesterday saying about healthcare. I hope when they're thinking on it and saying it, they stick up to it and stand up to it, because healthcare really need to come in this country. And the next thing again, Mr. Liburd, they raise the money and only think it and Nevis people them foolish and stupid who get 250 of the judge. They said this month is the last. Well, if this month is the last, the baby gonna cook, because they're giving all the young people them the job, but not the age of the people them. And when voting time comes, the age of the people them going to the polling station, go stand up and vote. You know, work so with God, you know. God not like ugly. And the next thing else again, Mr. Liburd, when you have a friend and your friend do something wrong, you and his good friend, and if your friend do something wrong, what you supposed to tell your friend? You're wrong.
Correct them.
And if you don't want to hear it, that means he's not any friend. The so-called commissioner, me going to stop talking about my brother son, you know. The so-called commissioner, he and the police tight. That's why you don't want to take up my brother card and give my brother justice. But you know work so, you know, and you know going down some, you know going down the jail and you know work so. Force gonna make water go uphill if you don't give my brother justice for his child from that officer there, whatever he done to him. That Thursday area where Thursday night come, I get a coolness. Area where Thursday night come, Mr. Liburd, I get a coolness. Don't let the commissioner and that police feel like he going on the jail. Nothing shall go so. And the next thing against Mr. Liburd, one load of pothole in all the road them in St. Kitts. Why? I don't know why Dr. do cheat in the country like this. Why you cheat in the country like this? The country not going up, the country not gonna win now. He got this man from Yungwang as he has boys. Why you never take Timothy to be as boys as Dougie? Dougie not like him, he not like Dougie something so.
Okay.
This government needs to go because they ain't bringing nothing and they ain't doing nothing labor right now with the problem.
Okay.
Everybody about it, not one about they need to go, pack up and go.
Okay, got you loud and clear. Got you loud and clear.
Yeah, about them, they need to go.
Got you loud and clear. Calic one's on. Thanks a lot for your...
Yes, baby. You have a good night's rest and you get home safe.
Thanks a lot. Have yourself a good night's rest as well. And we go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you alive. Hello, caller.
Good night.
Hello, that sounds like the Bible man. Good night, sir. How about thou?
Yeah, you got the Bible?
It's in my head.
In your head?
Yes. I tried to memorize the Psalms when they are 18. I love the Psalms.
The Psalms is 101.
101. You're always beating me. Okay. If you start, go ahead. If you started, I'll probably get it.
All right.
101.
Hear the word of God, Mr. Patrick here.
Mm-hmm.
He that walk deceitful shall not dwell therein in my house. And he dwell in my house. And he that tell liar. You ever said about it? He that tell liar shall not tarry in my sight. That's 101 Psalm, Mr. Patel.
That one stumped me. Though. I don't remember that Psalm. I'll be honest with you. But go ahead.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
You stumped me, Bible man. I don't remember that Psalm at all.
You remember Psalm 101?
I don't remember that Psalm.
Oh, you remember them?
But again, 101, I will sing of the mercy and judgment of unto thee, O Lord.
Yeah. All right, okay. Well, let me give you the last one.
Oh, you went to the last verse. Okay, now I'm stumped, man. Okay. Yeah, I will sing.
Here the last word says. I will only destroy all the wicked of the land. That I may cut them off, cut off all the wicked doers from the city of the Lord. That's Psalms. You say you want the Psalms, I'm going to start saying them.
Okay, my brother. No, okay. Thanks a lot. We start from the last verse. I know I will sing of mercy and judgment unto thee, O Lord. I will sing. That's Psalm 101. You start to the last verse. Thank you very much, my dear brother. Thank you very much.
Here the first Psalm, 100. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord.
Yes, I know that.
Make a joyful noise unto the Lord.
Oh, yes.
Unto the Lord, all Elan. That's it. I left in you with Psalm 46 passages.
God is my refuge and my strength.
Psalm 40 and then Psalm 41. Blessed is the man that considereth the poor.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. That's it. Yeah, that's all you have to left you with.
Thank you.
But you tell me you want the psalm and I reading the psalm now and
you reading from the you reading from the last verse.
No, I'm giving you them and you run from them.
No, you must start with the first verse. You start with the last verse.
If I start from the very first one, Mr. Patrick.
Yes.
You that tell me, card, I would read down until the read down.
Okay,
but
brother.
you that said, yeah, but.
Thanks a lot, my brother. Yes, thanks a lot. Yes, the Bible man had me stumped there, you know. Psalm 101. I said, what is he reading? I don't know that psalm. But in fact, he started reading the 7th verse instead of the first verse, you know. When you hear the first verse of any psalm, then you tend to follow along. The Prime Minister announced, read this email, that students who have loans with the Development Bank will soon be paying little or nothing for these Bamako loans. But to this day, seemingly absolutely no adjustments have been made. No adjustments have been made. It's gone off my screen. What's happening to that? To reduce these students' interests. So many students and parents are irate and complaining how light the Prime Minister is. They say one minister boasting how she had a student loan and was able to pay it off in quick time because of a fat ministerial paying job, coupled with the 33% increase on her salary. While this minister can boast and show off on these frustrated students and parents, the Prime Minister has become the norm. And let us not forget that they took this unprecedented increase even before they started working, and the Attorney General made such a dumb, idiotic excuse that they had to increase their salaries before anyone offered to bribe them. Nonsense. Read this email. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding caller you live. Hello, caller.
Yes. Good night, Brother Patches.
Good night, sir. How are you?
Good night. I am humble and peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God I just got off the highway from Connecticut that I can be able to call in. Good night to all listeners, Patches, and listeners. By the leadership of our country, the people will and shall perish. Now, as you outline, I'm going to just extract some real condemnation of leaders in the past and leaders present. But let's elaborate. We have an election coming up shortly. And there are two leaders named who called on the U.S. by the U.S. State Department for money laundering. Actually, one is trying to reaffirm his position. And I, on the calculation that his position is for leadership of the country again. Do you think if such thing were to happen, the U.S. government will want to do any business with that leader? No. We say country above country above self. Now, if that leader is concerned about the country and the people, I think they should cancel themselves out. I mean, hey, there are supporters there hoping he will be able to grab that mantle. But what if he grabbed that mantle? How much more our country will continue to stay between a brick and a hard place or a brick and a hard wall? I mean, these are damages. To be charged for money laundering is no game. Okay? And for all those reasons, we got to consider that. If it was my brother, I will have to tell him step down, because you're going to make the rest of the people perish. And it's about time for someone to come with a wake-up call and make that announce. Else, we ain't gonna go nowhere. We're gonna stick right there in quagmire until the U.S. government the U.S. government, we have our own sovereignty. But the U.S. government have the cards because if they cut off trade, if they cut off Western Union, all the rails that coming into the country for the reason of a person who is blacklisted, what are we gonna do? We can't let one man hold the country hostage. And it's not that I don't love the names that listed here, but they have done us ill. And we cannot continue to embrace that present of leadership. So all who are blacklisted, they cannot run to say, have the country sustained. So we got to think twice. It's not just one thing, it's many things, but one thing is too many. One quagmire is too many. I will yield here. I know I'm going to upset some people, but guess what? I'm doing the right thing.
Not upset, not upset, but confused. I was trying to follow you about blacklisted. Which leader is blacklisted?
Well, let me just refrain from blacklist. On the list of money launderers.
There's a list of money launderers.
There are two names listed.
On the list of money launderers?
We play back to Philip Martinez.
But
oration.
But it doesn't necessarily say that they're money launderers. It said that he has some bank accounts. I mean, and we see what the court says.
It is money laundering.
Okay.
It is money laundering.
Okay, well, okay, got you, my brother.
Money laundering, that is the spell out aloud. But we got to call it for what it is. Okay. Does the U.S. government has to come out and say these are money launderers?
Have they?
How all these money get into Bank America?
Okay.
And where all this money generated from? And how these people get those money?
Okay.
And it's going back from since CBI was discovered.
Okay.
I stand for correction, but I know I'm right.
Okay, my brother. Thanks.
I will yield here.
Thanks for
anyone to abuse me. I could take it. I have a big chest.
Okay. Thanks for your clarification, because I was lost for a moment in terms about the blacklist and the money laundering and so on. But thanks for the clarification. And if you're just joining me, my Straight Talk family, we are examining our thesis tonight, which I've titled, as I said earlier, SKN, think it's Nevis, Nevis, trapped between a rock and a hard place. And we focus primarily on the issues we are facing with our beloved federation, or the name of our beloved federation appearing on a list with 35 other countries that Trump may ban travel to the U.S. from this country. And our country is listed, as you can glean from your screens. And that's something we hope and pray will not happen. We know they have 60 days in which to rectify the issues. As mentioned earlier, I played a soundbite from the spokesperson of the U.S. State Department who said this.
Just following up on that, there was a deadline given for these 36 countries tomorrow to come up with their action plan. I wonder if you've heard back. No,
that's incorrect. I can just tell you that that's not correct. The fact is that they will have a considerable amount of time to rectify whatever the situation is that the State Department is determined is affecting the nature of our trust in how we issue a visa.
And the significant amount of time was quantified earlier as 60 days. But we in St. Kitts, because of this secretive government, we don't know what are the issues to be rectified. We understand that some passport holders or some holders of our passport, the St. Kitts Nevis passport, have been found to be on a watch list, a terrorist watch list. But again, we don't know what are the issues because our secretive Prime Minister never answers questions, and no doubt we may never hear what are the issues. But it is troubling, like I said. It is troubling. And we ask ourselves the question, my sweet family. How can it become possible under Prime Minister Jew that such a small country like ours, St. Kitts Nevis, a tourist country, as we say, how can we end up on the list of a U.S. travel ban of the U.S. government? How can we be put on the same list with Afghanistan, with Yemen? It puts us in a terrible light, my sweet family. The Attorney General is mum. Nobody's saying anything. But this will seriously, if this happens, and we pray to God that it would never happen, we are in dire trouble. And we have to ask ourselves, my straight dog family, what are the issues? That should be a national discussion, so we can get our citizens buying into the decisions and owning these decisions. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, greetings. Good night, brother Patches.
Greetings, my brother Kalunji.
Yes, sir. Now, the question you pose, like I tell you already, we need to repent for our sins, right? But you're asking a question where we should be on a list with Afghanistan. Okay. And, yeah. But what I'm saying, they want to kill everyone through it. And he doing good. You see, that's what I'm... Huh?
So what that has to do with Chowry?
Obviously, but why they want to kill him?
No, but we be on a list with Afghanistan and Yemen, these terrorist countries. I mean,
let me tell you something. As long as you're black is a terrorist, that's how the US look at us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The questions they're posing. Look at this now. Look at this. They're giving us a timeline to rectify. They gave Iran a timeline to sign a deal. They were supposed to have a meeting and then they attacked them. The meeting was supposed to be on Sunday and they still attack them. We got to understand what is happening, my brother. As black people, we have to unite and resolve our contradictions.
Yeah, but
all these questions you're posing doesn't mean nothing to them. Look, Trump put tariff on us, we ain't doing nothing.
yeah,
you was responding?
Yeah, you raised a lot of issues at the same time, right? In terms of the visa, the possible visa ban a travel ban, right? And it derives from our CBI program. Our CBI program, we sell our passports, and there seems to be a concern that our due diligence is not capturing the bad people. Our passport was sold to some bad people. So I mean,
okay,
bad people, black and white, and so it has to do with the fact that the CBI program, and we are selling these passports, and perhaps the due diligence is not up to speed, or the information sharing is not up to speed, because I know that the information was always shared with the U.S. So I mean, how could it reach to that stage? And that's the point.
Okay. That's the point you asked. That's the argument the U.S. putting forward.
But
right?
Is it fair or not?
Whether it's fair or not, this is what I'm saying. That's why I tell you we got to repent, Whether it's fair or not, these people don't care nothing about us. For instance, like I said,
Kalonji, man, I credit you with much more, understanding and intelligence than that. We have an issue with the passport, and you will find your people being caught with a St. Kitts Nevis passport, and he's on the terrorist watch list. Who to blame but us?
But hear what I'm saying, brother Patchy.
Okay.
The label all kind of people terrorists, right? I'm saying to you, you got black people in America who they label as terrorists. Any black organization fighting for black liberation is a terrorist organization.
We found some Chinese. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we found some Chinese. Some Chinese were found with a St. Kitts Nevis passport. I mean, what has to do with black and white, though?
Because it's boiled down to black and white, but we don't look at it that way. Okay, that's the point I'm making.
I'm only asking this for me to understand and for our listenership, our viewership to understand, because I'm confused with what you're saying,
Yeah, you can. You confuse why you want to take out Brother Abraham Traore and the leaders in the Sahel state.
But how?
They don't want to take them out.
How do you put Traore into this discussion about?
Because why don't want to remove him from power?
Okay.
Can't do nothing wrong. You see, that's what I'm saying. That's why black people are to rally on April 30th. He's doing good things.
Okay.
When Hillary Clinton them thief all the money from Haiti, nobody said nothing. You talking about money launderers, bad actors. They killed Gaddafi. They killed Lumumba. They overthrew Nkrumah. The point I'm making, whether you do good or bad, when it comes to black people, all us bad. And we're getting it. Look how Israel attack Iran. Is the United States plan that? We gotta wake up, man.
Okay, my brother, I got you loud and clear.
So what I'm saying, I'm not saying that we doing all well. That's why I say we have to repent. Who does London more money than London? Delaware in the United States. That's a state that land a lot of money. I'm not saying we should be laundering money, don't get me wrong. But they ain't no better than us. All I'm saying, all the money that's we land and all the money from the CBI, we should demand that we have an inquiry and then we resolve the contradictions and bring back the money.
Okay.
Look at the Christopher Harbour deal. It's the same thing going on in Burkina Faso. That's why them brothers have to take over the country. These white people keep exploiting us. And then they come with a cockamamie story about terrorists and all kind of thing. The terrorists are for 500 years are still doing it.
So we should take over the country then? What do you think?
What going on in Burkina Faso, we want to kill.
Okay, so we just take over the country. Okay, I got that.
Yes. Yeah, the masses because we want want to do things right.
Okay, I got you. I got you loud and clear.
Okay, my lord.
I got you loud.
You're blessed, Lord. Granny said, follow the leader, Abraham follow the leader.
Yes, my brother. Thank you.
Okay then. Cool.
The fact is, though, my straight talk family, and I don't know if we can disagree that we should take over the country. Because I heard somebody sent me something from, I call him a crackhead doctor, you know, and they're talking about powerful people. But the fact is that the government is the people. We are the government. And if things are going wrong, we must put them right. What is happening now is that the government of the day must understand that our credibility and reputation are on the line. And we need to understand as well that it is not a small matter. This is not just a diplomatic hiccup, as I said. This is a reputational crisis. And its consequences, if not addressed with urgency, transparency, and seriousness, could be devastating. And if we are honest, we would agree that's what's at stake. If this travel ban becomes a reality, the impact on ordinary citizens and divisions will be catastrophic. Our citizens, our students, those who need to do health referrals in the US, they would face visa denials. We risk losing access to critical trade, to education, our students. Our tourism industry, which depends heavily on US travelers, would suffer from negative perceptions and diminished trust. So these are the issues, my straight talk family. And at the center of these issues is a controversy relating to our CBI program, which was initiated some 40 years ago and more as a bold innovation to support our development without dependency. But my straight talk family, after 4 decades of operating the world's longest standing CBI program, why are we still grappling with questions of integrity and due diligence? Why are we not a model for the world? But instead, we are under scrutiny and possible sanction. Those are the issues. It has nothing to do with Africa or black or white. Not at all. I'm afraid not. That is my humble opinion, and I respect yours as well. Patches, Lawyer Azar Gums reads this email. Your response to that Labour political red cap stooge Tuesday afternoon on the issues program was well done. Even time this man, it's time. What is he saying here? What is this person saying here? This man called in on the radio to make himself a fool with the follies coming out of his mouth. As I don't waste no time with this red cap airport clown. Just apply the Mark Twain theory to him, which is, in short, is. Answer not a fool. He must have known the massive work Lindsey Grant and Pam has done in Constituency number 4 for the people, especially in roads and houses. This idiot has to sing loud for his supper after Marsha gave him a big paying job at the airport. Let him know, Azad, in no uncertain terms, that he's a fool and you have no time to waste with fools. Read this email. Patches, Dr. Jew has failed as a national security minister, added to the long list of other failures under his watch. It is a shame that he has Commander Wallace as his advisor for the Defense Force and Edinburgh as his advisor for the police force. No surprise why the mess at the Defense Force under Wallace's recommendation to install the Nigerian-born Coyote Sutton has in such a short time been at the detriment of the force. Soldiers are concerned about his peace program ties with the gangs, or to the gangs, and there is turning a blind eye to a senior soldier sexually harassing a young female soldier, and he continues to work like normal. Dr. Drew has no control over any ministry under him. Reads this email. And those are the views of the emailers and not necessarily the views of Straight Talk and or the hosts of Straight Talk, my family. And at 18 before the 10 o'clock hour, if you have joined me for the first time, Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. And we entertain your calls and your emails, and we go straight back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, sir. How about thou?
How about thou?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Mr. Liburd, I'd like to ask you a question, right? When you were in government, right, how many times did you all used to travel out of this country and work with the amount of entourage?
Well, to put it bluntly, we never travel. There's a policy that we don't travel unless your travel is sponsored. Unless it's sponsored travel, some organization paying for your travel. 9.5 of the 10 times we won't travel unless they are sponsored travel. So we have no determination in terms of the delegation and so on. What we have now is a government that even travel on private charters, and that to me is saddening. Are you there?
Yeah, because what I find, for instance, Dr. Terrence Jung, or whatever you call him, but if he gone into office, he's traveling more than person who can even go over to Nevis on board. And he's traveling with this amount of entourage. And he's not coming back and telling people what he went to do. But everything he wrote was Dr. Timothy Harris. Dr. Timothy Harris. What Dr. Timothy Harris have for him? And what he do not know, the people never want him out of office. Because they don't waste of time to the lady, because they're not looking after the lady whose son get killed. And he should be able to find out from the Commissioner of Police what is the situation with this lady crying about her son that get killed. So I said, well, let me ask you a question, because every minute you hear on the television or on the radio, or the government gone out of the country, and this amount of entourage and this amount of this. And it's unbelievable. And there was a minister who is in charge of education, was boasting and saying that he bring them chairs and desks for the high school over at Cairn. But up to now, the lady who sent down these things for him cannot get her money to pay for workers in Miami. And it is a shame, a very shame, of him to be a minister of education.
Thank you, my brother.
You have a pleasant night.
Thank you as well. We go straight back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Hey there, caller.
Hello. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Colonel. You have your equipment on? You have your equipment or something on there?
Yeah.
Just move away. Just listen to the telephone.
What I'm calling to find out, what are the implications for people with petition citizenship and green card holders? How does this travel ban affect them? And people who are just traveling for tourism affairs, travel ban to St. Kitts, does it involve them too? Or it's just people who are going to have visas? Because, if this travel ban is going to cover all these people who come in the St. Kitts as visitors and tourists and whatnot, this is a serious, serious affair. And the leadership of the country need to come to the nation and explain what are the implications and how this is going to affect people, that people start preparing themselves. We cannot have this in-house business and only information between a few. And we say we have a government of transparency. You got to do better than that.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Point taken, really. I believe, though, the focus based on what I've heard from the State Department is that the ones who hold St. Kitts Nevis passports, in our case, entering into the U.S. or crossing the U.S. border, there's where the issue lies. And well, obviously, it would affect both eventually, if that's what's happening. But it affects our students. It would affect our students. There's some people who go for medical health checkups and so on. And in so many different ways, it can affect our people. But let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live.
Mr. Patches, greetings.
Greetings, my brother. How about thou?
I'm very good. What about you?
Oh, I'm peaceful, man.
A very pointed program.
Thank you.
This evening. Very pointed. SKN chap between a rock and a hard place.
True.
The questions you're asking, Mr. Patches, ain't nothing to do with black and white.
Of course not.
We are governing an independent nation. Obviously, our CBI program coming into question. Remember too, Mr. Patches, time's gone, one of our prime ministers say we have economic citizens and we also have natural born citizens. So obviously, the economic citizens is what is driving problems to our natural born citizens.
Right.
Ain't no question to ask about that. And Mr. Patches, if we got to strive, and you ask the question, why we have a program for 4 decades and we still cannot get our issues ahead of ourselves. We say we are a Christian nation, Mr. Patches, and the many persons in our society go to church every Sunday. So why they cannot walk in the footsteps of Christ that he wants us to do? He wants us to stand up for what is right. Nothing is about wrong and right. It's not to do not with black, none of white. The rule that out is about wrong or right. We need to reform ourselves. Definitely, Mr. Patches. The Bible says he must be born again. When someone is born again, they live within a different state of mind. Because you're born again. Righteousness you see someone still feel we big in politics and we talk 1 or 2 righteousness. No, you got to change your ways from the political ways if you want to walk in righteousness. So you got to do what is right. I agree with the Bahamas Prime Minister. Look how they shift the responsibility on behalf of the people. We cannot just say, oh, you're doing this and you're doing that. No, we govern in a nation and you got to protect your people. Look how much of them African countries in the past, Mr. Patches. They try to move drastic to say they want to change things and then what? They put pressure on their people. You cannot govern a country by putting pressure on your people. Leadership is not just about domination, Mr. Patches. Every leader have to remember he's an instrument of God. Always have to remember that. And you have to put your people at first. Mm-hmm. When one is governing a country, they're not governing their own private club, or their own party. They're governing a country. So they must put all those things in perspective, Mr. Patches. We have to show where our allegiance is. If it's to our country or to foreign domination. You continue to be good, stay healthy, God bless. God's with you.
God bless you as well. I wish you the same, my brother. And yes, it's not about right and wrong, yes, correct. It's not about, straight talk is not about assigning blame to any leader or any party or any government. It's about opening the door to clarity. We are opening the door to accountability. And every Monday and Thursday, we open the door to dialogue. And the government, whoever is in office, must understand that our credibility and reputation are on the line. So we must begin the process tonight to inform the public, my Straight Dog family. We have to inform the public to correct misinformation and to work urgently to restore the confidence of our international partners while preserving the dignity of our nation. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Liburd, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Very good, very good. I just want to echo. I want to be like an echo tonight. We need to show where our allegiance is. The economic citizens are affecting the natural born citizens. I show some sympathy tonight with Kaliquan's auntie. Despite the fact that she called in several weeks in a row now with some grievances, I just want to say she's coming from a point of hurt, not being able to get her grievances at least be heard. And we saw where she's coming from a point of hurt, and the Bible man perked you up and coming from a point of happiness. We have to be concerned with each other, especially when we are down and out. Somebody might need a helping hand up, or somebody might just need to say, to you, Kaliquan's auntie, we love you and we hear your voice. Back to the Christoph Harbor bad deals that happened over all these years. 20 years so far, these guys are operating in the Federation. And I listened to a podcast, Wednesday evening, I think that was, and a clip was played there. And, a focus was put on the deals that they made over those years behind the scenes. Bad deals, that is. And the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis underground got to be concerned about their own country. Our country has no gold that I know of, no bauxite that I know of. Our resources are our lands and our people. And if we can't get that right going forward, I'm going to say it loud and clear, and I'm sorry to say this. St. Kitts and Nevis will be run by the oligarchs. It's already started. One point of that clip, that presentation, and many points, many stipulations that was said is in some of these deals. The the arrangement between the Christoph Harbour and the government, I've come to the conclusion that, and I'm listening to what I've heard, it's bigger than the law in St. Kitts and Nevis. Our Prime Minister and our AG should not let that happen. They need to really be honest with the public. And I've said recently on these airs, persons who are thinking about putting a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis, they can kiss that thought goodbye if we continue to let the land slip away over there in the peninsula. Whoever owns the lands over there in the peninsula also will own the waterways. And one specific point that I've grabbed from that podcast, that clip, that presentation that I heard, part of some of that deal that's going on over there with Christoph Harbour, they are going to own the waterway 12 miles out. They're going to own the waterway 12 miles out. Many other points that I have in my mind that I know I heard in that clip, but the people of St. Kitts and Nevis should not stay there and let them get away with this stuff. Going forward, we're not going to be able to walk on our beaches. And I'll leave it there for now, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your contribution as usual. You know, our quotation tonight, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And the Prime Minister drew and Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin. We asked, what did they do with our CBI program? What did Philippe Martinez give us or give to the U.S. government that made Garth Lucifer Wilkin refuse to go to Washington to meet the Department of Justice and State Department officials? He was invited. Why didn't Garth Lucifer Wilkin go to Washington? So look at where we are today. Just because Garth Lucifer Wilkin, the chief legal advisor, is hiding. You need to cut off the bad apples. What do you believe the American government thinks when they see the $1 million bank accounts of ministers? Terence Michael July and Garth Lucifer Wilkin must stop protecting these ministers in the cabinet and their colleagues who have the millions of dollars in these accounts. What's going to happen now? Are they going to jeopardize our ability to travel to and from the USA? Jeopardize our tourism industry? Jeopardize our hotel and restaurant industry? The willful blindness of Terence Michael July and Garth Lucifer Wilkin will hurt all of us. As you know, President Trump don't play. So tonight, I implore us to begin a frank and necessary process. One that seeks not to cast blame, but to reclaim control of our national narrative. We owe it to our people to get this right. Not only to restore trust abroad, but to ensure that every Kittitian and division, whether at home or overseas, can walk with pride and confidence in the strength and integrity of our country. Where is the leader of the opposition? Mark Brantley is silent. The silence of Mark Brantley is deafening. Let this moment not be one of despair. but a turning point where we finally align our ambitions to our accountability. Let's speak with honesty and a heavy sense of responsibility. St. Kitts and Nevis, our beloved nation, is facing a serious challenge that threatens our international standing and the freedom of movement we have long enjoyed. Our CBI program, as I mentioned, was once hailed as a bold economic innovation. It is now under intense international scrutiny. Specifically, the United States has raised deep concerns about the program's integrity, questioning whether it has become a gateway for individuals who pose threats, for terrorists who pose threats to U.S. national security and public safety. As a result, we currently find ourselves trapped between a rock and a hard place. One side, our economic benefits, which we have long relied on from this program, are in jeopardy. On the other hand, there is growing pressure from our most powerful ally, the United States of America, whose cooperation we depend on for trade, for travel, and for security. My friends, my people, my Straight Talk family, the potential consequences are serious. We risk losing our visa privileges. We risk seeing our citizens subjected to suspicion and delay. We must act, and we must act now, to remove St. Kitts and Nevis from this list. How are we going to rectify the issues? What are the issues? Is 60 days enough time to rectify those issues, my Straight Talk family?
Just following up on that, there was a deadline given for these 36 countries tomorrow to come up with their action plan. I wonder if you've heard back.
No, that's incorrect. I can just tell you that that's not correct. The fact is that they will have a considerable amount of time to rectify whatever the situation is that the State Department has determined is affecting the nature of our trust in how we issue a visa.
How? What's enough time? Is 60 days enough time? What are the issues? Rebuilding trust means accepting where we have gone wrong and showing the world that we are ready to set things right. If we don't, my Straight Talk family, St. Kitts and Nevis will remain trapped between a rock and a hard place. And that's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I would thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many viewers, those who just listen, those who sent emails, my Straight Dog family, and those who call. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I'm Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spear. We will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. And remember, my Straight Talk family, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Go to church. Some of you may just go to the beach. Go to the beach after church. I'm going to church, God's willing. But whatever you do for the weekend, do it in moderation. And think about it. Think about it, my Straight Talk family. When we speak about reforming our program, I spoke to you, or I referred to an agreement with CS Global and one man, Dev Bad, How could one man from one project get $195 million? How could that be correct, my street dog family? Get $295 million EC dollars. No wonder he comes the big brother of Terence Michael Drew. Something is wrong, my street dog family, and we have to put it right. We must prepare contingencies to protect our tourism and financial services, our service sectors, the pillars of our economy. Diversifying markets and expanding partnerships with Canada, the EU, and Latin America are essential. But over the past weeks, we have been faced with a deeply unsettling development, one that has captured international attention and struck at the heart of our national identity. St. Kitts and Nevis, a country globally known for its tranquility, hospitality, and democratic values, now finds itself listed alongside countries such as Afghanistan, Yemen, and Syria as being potentially subject to travel restrictions by the United States of America. It's not a small matter, my street dog family. We have to cut off those bad apples. That's the way I'm going to end it. And just to remind you that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my street dog family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
Election in St. Kitts.
What? Bye-bye, my street dog family. Until we connect on Monday. Here's where we go.